Greetings from Motorindia and welcome to the YouTube channel. Our guest for today is Mr. Ganesh Mani. He is the CEO of Switch Mobility. Mr. Ganesh Mani, welcome to the show.
Always pleasure.
Thank you for
Mani.
your time.
Thank you.
I just wanted to understand your views on the evolving trends in the commercial vehicle, electric commercial vehicle ecosystem till about 2030.
So electric commercial vehicle is vast. So it starts from sub 210 categories to the level of 55-ton categories. So the evolution has been very different. So let's talk about where it's immediately growing up is the sector where we are predominantly there from 0 to 7.5 tons. Wherein Switch was the first one to bring the product, and still, last year we ended up with a market share of close to 40% plus, specifically on 2 to 3.5 tonners. So obviously the sub 210 is actually catching up with a lot, because the price parity between EV and ICE are much more, catching up. And obviously there are three-wheelers also getting migrated to four-wheeler. But in sub 210, above that 2 to 3.5 tonners, as always, the product of whatever us and also the other players, I think this is also steadily increasing, close to 35 to 40% of increase expected. And as you keep growing up, obviously it is evolving. We have products from Ashok Leyland of 11 tonner and also 55 ton. And it's based on predominantly on a B2B arrangement, or also people who are wanting to work on a fleet operations and tender based. That's what the entire actions are going on. But a whole lot of players are good, possibilities are there in till 7.5 ton, especially the segment of 2 to 3.5 tons, of course. That's as far as truck is concerned. But of course, the bus is a different story altogether. And thanks to the lot of drives from the government, FAME 1, FAME 2, PME Drive 1, PME Drive 2, and also PME Seva now, which is also a smaller tier 1, tier 2 cities are going to get covered in the next tender, which is going to come, which is currently in the pipeline, and also a lot of other opportunities which have come. I think predominantly a bus industry is also going up. By 2030, I believe 30% of the market share could be perhaps we have that. But right now the numbers are far low. So there is a good amount of opportunity for these things to come up. And apart from that, we also would like to see that there are mid-term where the last mile connectivity of passenger segment is also one of those areas. So I think that is one of the other areas which also, the industry which we believe will also have a connectivity between the metros to, the last mile place where people are actually assembling into. So the electrification is holistically overall, we are very buoyant.
Charging infrastructure?
So charging infrastructure has grown up from a level what it was 5 years before, and now it's gone up. But it's a way above, the asking rate is much more higher there. So a million mark is required, but whereas currently it's all moves in thousands, tens of thousands only. So I think there is a large amount of area we need to go. That will also help in a way for electrification for commercial vehicles specifically, because we need to carry the load. We don't want to unnecessarily carry the battery as a load, and it's also compromise the and the livelihood of the people who are working. That's what we see. I think going forward, we believe at least 20 to 30% of electrification in this 7.5 ton market. Bus obviously of 30%. That's what the ambitious thing we want. The industry to move around.
Great, interesting. Yeah. So how are you steering Switch Mobility to match the evolving trend and also grow further?
So as you said, as you know very well, we are there in the industry for more than 75 years. So first and foremost, Switch Mobility is the first one product come in 2 to 3.5 ton. We have already done more than 3,000 plus vehicles on the road. There are a lot of satisfied customers who are very clear about the product and the quality and also consistency of the product. And that's what is the thing which is going to drive the the market going forward. The confidence level of the customers also is important. So and also, as always say, that TCO is very important, total cost of ownership. And there are three things customers see. The first one is the product stability and also the reliability of the product, first and foremost. The second thing is about the TCO per se, how far they can match. And also third and most important thing is about the way, if something goes wrong with my vehicle or going forward also, is there any support system?
Okay.
So all the three areas, we clock, clearly on this. First and foremost, we are a reliable product which has already been proven to the market. And TCO per se, we have also been working on multiple products and variants within the period of IV3 and IV4 range products itself. We like to come up with at least 3 or 4 more products coming in this area till 2030, so that each and every customer needs can be actually fulfilled from that angle. That's the plan of it. And we have more than dealer network of more than 100 already being created, and we would like to take it across to at least 3 more level, 3 times more, so that each and every customers are quickly serviceable whenever it is required on this. But that's why it's going great as far as the switch mobility is concerned.
Let me take the one element of what you said, the total cost of ownership. In diesel, it's only the cost of ownership and the kilometers run, whereas in electric, you have the acquisition cost, which is much higher than the number of kilometers per kilowatt hour or whichever you call. So how do you create a compelling reason for the customers to come in, factoring in all the 3 elements?
Correct. See, first of all, Indian customers are super intelligent. So you can't just keep this away and just show that your operation cost is right from the day one, it's 0. Because assuming that every kilowatt hour is giving 1 kilometer, so it's less than 8 rupees or 10 rupees for you, or 12 rupees, whereas in diesel it's actually much more larger on that. That's not the way it is seen. Okay. It's seen right from the way how much is the upfront cost he is giving, the seeding money which he has to give, and also how much is the financing cost, and also how much is the interest rate on which is going to be delivered, as well as the operational cost savings perspective. So our discussion point to the customer is that within how many months that ROI is going to come, based on the various needs of it. There are certain players who does not take so much of load. They want a lesser tonnage vehicle, lesser load capacity. So we have bought a vehicle of IV3, and when they want to go for an extended ranges, also we have a product which is available. Okay. And also if you go for a higher tonnage, we have got an IV4 vehicle product. So all those variants we are able to understand the customer and offer this is what the TCO is all about. Okay. Wherein though the initial cost of acquisitions are larger, by and large the gap is getting reduced. First and foremost is that, of course, diesel prices have gone up, the products also gone up. So that clearly gives advantages to the electric industry. But having said that, instead of relying on that alone, we have also been working closely with the customers how to really increase the value to the product. How much is the reliability and uptime which we can actually bring it across, which is close to 97% right now. Okay. And also most importantly, the range of the product vehicle, how can we continuously improve. So we constantly work with them, we redo our programs and give it back to them on a customer specific. They are also been really extremely happy and great going from that aspect. So since these vehicles are of B2B, B2C and also B2G, close to 30% spread across, so we need to have these products made available to them right from the beginning to the end of it. The second point which also working is the way how the application oriented. For example, we have vehicles which are also having municipal applications, and every time once it gets collected it gets thrown into a common place, and from there some other movement is happening. But we are able to make a product of a load body and also cleansing mechanism such a way that it directly gets transferred to the vehicle to vehicle basis, so that the fatigue and efforts of the operator goes, is much more lesser. Point number 2 is the kind of vehicle of load bodies, and also all the other things are all of the customer specific requirement, because that dark stores, e-stores, also e-commerce area, there are specific deck lengths are they working. We are able to maneuver our deck length of the product itself from a traditional level of working to that specific that. So that clearly takes a great winners to them. So we have been constantly working with them, talking to them, calling them to the place and show what the products, what we have, what do they want. And in that basis, we make them an offer, they are happy to take it.
Well, I think you're giving a picture for the customer on the profitability growth before even buying it, taking a decision on buying it, right?
Absolutely. So the most important thing is the trust level of the operator. And though we say that it will be possible, the delivery on your word is very important. So customers see only 2 important things. One is that is he finding any value proposition to him or not? Second and most important thing is problems of the actual daily life is getting eliminated or not. Both the things, if you are able to take care, rest is only the reliability and constant factor which Switch has always been famous for. So that is how our aim is to really keep moving the products.
You you have indicated about cross industry learning. What exactly is that? How does it help players in the EV industry?
A plenty lot. So you have a technology which is predominantly, though we have we have technologies of homegrown. We are actually making all the products here. Fundamental technologies have come from various other part of world only.
Okay.
So our aim is to really make sure that how do we really fill the gaps where exactly things are available, and that is where the industry knowledge and also the vendors knowledge who are already working with us for many years. And third is the customer knowledge is going to be very useful. Let me give an example of customer to per se. We got a customer who said that electric vehicle is a level up. I'll always call this a Gen Z product. When we actually ICE product is more of a Gen X and Gen Y. Gen Z product primarily because number one is the less moving parts, technologically one level up, and secondly the entire data can be driven through your own telematics. So not only us, they also analyze the data and they were talking to me that this is what is happening in your product and you need to really probably re-maneuver on the same. So it's a jugglery of actual BMS. Our experts are there. We do it. We check. We homologate. We approve it, and we put it back into the product. So that's one of the greatest example I will say. As high as close to 20-30 kilometers range we could extend of a product which we actually had made it for a specific application.
Okay.
They found there is one more application. Why don't you do this for us? And we are able to give those multiple options in the vehicle itself, so that they find it to be happy. There are a lot of vendors who come back to us saying that these are the technologies which we already have, and we like to work with you, and we really work with many companies like American companies and also Indian companies, reputed. They always come back and say that these are all the new technologies available in transmissions and traction motors, and also in terms of the battery assembling also. So these two things have been working very closely as, and we are adding a lot of value.
When compared with ICE, the technology, performance-driven technological evolution is much faster in EVs than ICE. So how do you exactly foresee this change and then inculcate in the products that are being developed?
Well, both has got its own, technological evolutions, because in ICE, if you see from BS3 to BS4 to BS6 and going forward BS7 also, that's got its own way of technology evolution, and also in terms of electronically how things have been moving. But the electrification is a little different. So how, there are three important parameters: how the range of the products can go, that determines heavily on that, how lighter your product can be, and how user friendly the customer feels like. These three parameters are giving a whole lot of opportunities for us. Let's talk about the example of intercity buses. Intercity buses, the customer wants. They wanted to have a battery which can actually last for 3 or 4 hours plus. And the only break whenever he takes at that time can it be manageable or not. So we are actually bringing up a product technologically superior in that sense from that area. But all your aggregates need to be attuned to that area. Second technology is about, once the vehicle is becoming smoother, then it becomes all the most important for you to make all the other aggregates also a little superior. That that gives an additional opportunity of technology evolutions. And third is about, since the customers are all already educated in this sense of understanding any of the persons who are using, then also we are able to use and help them out with the help of Switch Ion. Is one of the apps which always keeps giving it to the customers, and using that they are able to understand what they need to do, and it's more of an interactive, and we are able to use that advantages in a big way on that. So in a way you can imagine that it's one level up, the technology, and always the entire ecosystem and also the people in Switch has to really match the speed, and our team has been doing a phenomenal job.
Great, interesting. And I think last year Switch grew by more than 310%, selling 3,100 odd vehicles. How do you see FY27 panning out for you?
So electric, industry itself is an evolving one. So we don't see just year on year, and we don't get just satisfied with what is going around here. Our aim is to become a $1 billion company soon. So our journey towards that determines the way how we are actually moving across. We want to grow, as speed as what the other industries are going, much beyond that, what others have been doing across. We have a healthy market share, so we wanted to really maintain that market share of 40% plus in LCV. And all our efforts will go, and also bus also we want to keep at least 20% plus market share. So all our efforts will be working towards that direction, and all our products need to really match, and we continue to evolve. That's what the plan is all about.
Great. What's the target for 1 billion?
By which year? So, I mean, we didn't set a year-wise target. So we believe at least within 4 to 5 years is the period which we wanted to really make it happen. So,
Great. Mr. Ganesh Mani, thank you so much for your time and enlightening me on many things.
Thank you very much, Mani. It's a pleasure always talking to you. Thank you.